All right, I'm back, and with bad news. For those of you that don't know, if you're not following my Instagram, I kind of posted up what's going on here. So I finished the timing belt install on the car, and I pulled out the tensioner grenade pin before checking the torque on the cam caps or like the little caps for the bolts for the pretty much like the adjusting for the degreeing on the cams. It doesn't matter if I would have undid the grenade bolt or the grenade pin or not, because it's the same thing. It's just the grenade pin is just for the tensioner, so you can keep your timing belt on there. It just sucks because I'm gonna have to compress it now and then put a pin in there again. But essentially, what's going on is the left-hand side intake and exhaust cams. All the bolts are supposed to be torqued to 12 pounds. Had contacted BC before going ahead and torquing everything down and checking the specs and all that. I contacted them, and it looks like it was supposed to be torqued to 12 pounds. So 12 pounds, if you do it to inch pounds, because I have a torque wrench that it measures in inch pounds, it's pretty accurate. I put 144 inch pounds. The left-hand side intake cam torqued down just fine in the star pattern. And then the left-hand side exhaust cam gear as well, that torqued just fine in the star pattern. Once I moved over to the right-hand side, the passenger side bank, when I got to the intake side, when I was torquing it down, it felt a little strange. Like it really wasn't really that confidence inspiring for sure, torquing him down. So I did end up torquing him down on the top, and it was just, it barely, like it felt like it barely wanted to torque. So it felt like something was gonna strip. So I did the intake one, that one torqued down, none of the bolts stripped on that. But once I got to the exhaust, now that's when I had issues. So when I got to the exhaust cam gear, I started from the very top and I torqued that one down, and it torqued fine. It felt iffy as well. It just, I don't know. You can kind of just tell when something just doesn't feel right when you're torquing stuff down. So I torqued the top bolt. That one felt a little iffy, and I was just like, okay. I was like, I'll try the next one now. And I torqued the one next to it just to see how that one was feeling. It was just going and going and going, and I was just like, all right. I was like, this is a little weird. So I went just a little bit more, and I felt it just loosen up, and I was just like, okay, that one probably has a strip thread. So I moved on to the next one, next to the actual top one that I torqued down. Torqued that one, it torqued fine, and then I was just, I'm gonna try one more just to see, what's going on here. So I went over to the one across from that one, which is the bottom left. I started torquing that one down, same thing. It was literally about to torque, and then it just stripped. So what I have to do now, I have to take off the cam gears and get replacements, because that is manufacturer defect. I followed their torque procedure. I followed the torque spec that they told me they're supposed to be torqued at. I actually even went a little bit lower. Instead of 144 inch pounds, I went to 140 just in case, and stripped. So I am at a halt now with the whole timing belt setup. So I'm gonna move on and do the fuel stuff now. What we're gonna do real quick is just undo the timing belt, get the idler pulleys off, and then pretty much get the cam gears off, and I'll show you guys the damage, and we'll continue on forth with the build, start with the fuel. So let's get this thing going. All right, just so you guys can get an idea of what I'm talking about, I'm talking about these right here. These little caps, these little bolts, they get torqued down to a certain spec, which is 12 pounds. And you do it in a star pattern to get equal torquing, make sure everything's all evened out there. These were just fine. These gave me no issues whatsoever. Once I got to this side, you can see one of them is off because that one's stripped, and then the other one in the bottom left right here got stripped as well. This top one was kind of iffy. They all torqued, but I just didn't feel too comfortable with this one. And then this one is one that gave me just a bunch of problems. So pretty much, if you have your tensioner undone, as I do here, what you're gonna do to get the timing belt off is you actually just undo this bottom pulley right here, and then essentially you can get your timing belt off. So I'm gonna go ahead, take this bolt off, and then I should be able to get the belt off. So we'll go ahead and do that. And yeah, this is just such a bummer. I have to redo this all over again because of these cam gears. So I'm not saying that BC is a bad company and they have like quality control issues, but that's just, yeah, I don't know. That just really sucked for sure. I'm sure I'm gonna get replacements. I haven't gotten really in contact with them. I emailed them yesterday about what just happened. So hopefully they'll get back to me tomorrow. And if not, Zach is gonna help me out with it and see how we can warranty those out, because that's just, yeah. I mean, 12 foot-pounds is what they told me to do, so I followed their torque specs, and for that to happen, really shouldn't have happened. So we're gonna go ahead and get this off, and then yeah, we'll continue on forth with the fuel setup. So this means that we're gonna have to step inside to the car. I'm gonna have to clear everything out that's in there, and pretty much get the fuel pump installed and all that stuff. I might need a second hand. If anything, I'll try to get to as much as I can today, and then if I need somebody to help me out, I'll probably grab somebody and then continue on forth with the video. All right, and then it is at top dead center, so it's kind of one of those things you kind of want to do to make sure you line up the crank. You just really don't want to bend any valves or anything like that. So let's get this thing off. It sucks because yeah, everything was just going so well, and then that happened. So very unfortunate, very unfortunate. It sucks because it's time for sure, like it's time consuming, but I mean, we'll be all right. All right, so now that that's off, essentially you should be able to get your belt off. So this bottom one here is the most important one, and then from there you go. It's all off. Tensioner is all, of course, tension. So very unfortunate once again. And you can't torque these cams unless the time belt's on there. But yeah, look at this time belt. This thing's so beautiful. I love the pink on there. Like, look at that. Awesome. Love this. But yeah, we'll go ahead and save this belt inside the car. Meanwhile, we get the replacement cam gears and just going forth from there. Oh, I think that was probably this side right here that just loosened up. So these things are spring loaded. So like once there's like a little bit of tension, either went to the left or to the right, it's gonna spring and tension itself off. So yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get these two off, and these were okay. So yeah, we're gonna get them off here, and they are 17s now since I got the TIC turning concept FU bolts, which you guys know what the FU stands for. These things just literally suck when you have the 10mm hex cap on there. So let's get these things off. Sucks. This one on the top was kind of hitting the timing cover on the back, but the one on the bottom was definitely scraping. So I had to get another timing cover, and it's still scraping a little bit, but wasn't as much as the other one, because essentially what was going on, like this inner side of the cam gear, it was essentially like scraping on the outside. I don't know why. It was just literally scraping, and look at that. Like just like there's no reason for that to have happened. Like it's literally, look at all that aluminum right there. Like I don't know, it doesn't make sense why that happened. And yeah, I mean, even these look just like, they don't really look all too great in there. Yeah, I don't know why this happened, honestly. But yeah, essentially what was going on was that it was like scraping on the outside here, and I think it was because of the timing cover. But at the same time, I mean, if these stripped out like that, these might have been just a defective batch, because I had clearance issues with them. So yeah, so we'll get those replaced, and then continue on forward with the whole timing belt setup and whatnot. But I'll show you guys what it is that I think this was scraping on, which makes the most sense. What I think it was scraping on, I think it was scraping on this right here. So the outer edge of this cover. So that's kind of what it looked like it was scraping on. Same thing with the bottom side. The difference between the two is going to be the bolt hole, and this one is a little bit skinnier. It's not this. There's literally like a little right here. There's like a little spot that's just protruded out. There, you can kind of see it better on this one. You can see that little protrusion there. So what I think was going on is, I think the cam gears were just kind of scraping on that. And after replacing the rear cover, it was still doing the same thing. It wasn't as bad as it was with the 257 cover, but it still was doing it. And like I said, I think it was just a bad batch. So I went ahead and just replaced them, and I'm gonna have to replace the cam gears anyways for that side. So yeah, so I think we're pretty much done here due to the timing. Very unfortunate once again. But yeah, we'll move on and go to the back and do the whole fuel setup. Oh yeah, and then before we move on to the back, here are those bolts. So this one right here, this one is fine. Really no issues on this one. And this one though, like what happened here in the middle? The threads are like I don't know, man. There's like stuff wedged in between there, which could be the aluminum from the cam gear, but like, look at that. Oh, it's a part of the thread. Oh, okay. So this one essentially pulled the thread off of the gear. That's insane. Yeah, so yeah, it's just weird how everything just happened there. Yeah, there are essentially no threads on that cam gear for this one, so I'm just gonna screw them back in there as much as you'll screw in, and then get that figured out with warranty on BC. This is not improper installation. I installed them properly, and I was gonna torque them after I had the time belt on there like they told me they get torqued. So yeah, it just sucks. So okay, let's move on to the back. So now that we moved our way towards the back, first step is to take off the back seat. For me, it's easy. I just lift it up and pull it out. I never put the 212s or 14s that hold down the back seat because there's honestly no need. So I'm just gonna pull this up and pull it out, and then we should be able to get access to the little cover for the fuel pump, and then we'll get the fuel pump out. It's gonna smell a lot like fuel in here, so yeah, it's gonna be quite the issue. So yeah, we're gonna get that pulled out, and then we'll get the Radium fuel hanger all set up, and we'll install this thing in here if I can by myself. If not, I'm gonna have to grab somebody to help me out, because I know there's like a certain angle you need to do to get the fuel hanger in there, because of that leveling sensor. You have to like kind of screw it in when it's halfway in the fuel tank, so it's a very awkward position. So yeah, let's get this back seat out of here. Get the seat belts out of the way. That one's out of the way, and the one on the driver's side is out of the way. Now I can just pull it on out of here. All right, let's go. Ooh. All right, so what I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna lay this stuff on top of the roof because the car's not gonna be moving anytime soon. All right, now that that is on and out of here, I'm gonna have to clear some of the space here, and the location for the fuel pump is right here. So I'm gonna make this right, and I'm gonna cut holes wherever needed to get the fuel lines out of here, if necessary, and just go from there. And these two wires, if you guys are wondering what these are for, these are actually for my washer. My washer spray is for my windshield, because I relocated the reservoir to the back, so that's why I have it there. And the batteries obviously relocated to the back as well. So yeah, we'll get this all set up here, and yeah, get this thing going, get this thing all squared away. We'll grab the tools to get to this and out of here. It's gonna be 4 Phillips on a GC, and then it's gonna be 8mm sockets to get it on out. So go ahead and grab a socket tool and grab some Phillips, and then should be good. So now that we have all the tools needed, let me go ahead and show you guys what it is that you need to get off. So you're gonna get off 4 Phillips here, and then you'll be able to get this cover off. So let's get those things out of there. So there's one. Cool, there's one. There's 2. And then there's number 3 over here, and then number 4 is gonna be on the top left-hand corner. So this was kind of just thrown and done. I didn't really do a clean install on this, which I really should have. So, all right. And those 2 wires, by the way, are for the hardwire kit. Just dropped my screwdriver. Put that there. I'm gonna go ahead, and what I do is I like to really keep myself organized. So I'll throw these bolts up here just for now. That way I know where they're at. And then the top cover comes off. Bam, there you go. So now that's off, you have 8s to get out of here, and then it's gonna be your wiring harness for the fuel pump, and then you essentially have your return and your feed line, and one of them is going to be the crossover fuel line. So you pretty much just get these off, and then the fuel pump comes out. It can be a little tricky to get the fuel pump out, but essentially this is what's gonna have to be done. So I'm gonna mount you guys back up and get these out. And then I went ahead and grabbed some needle nose pliers, because I know one of them was a little stripped, I believe. So just in case, I might need to grab an 8mm wrench as well. That one is loose. so I have my 8mm wrench here. Pretty much put that in there like so. This gonna be no fun at all. And then grab these. This is gonna be so difficult. Okay. It's gonna be very, very difficult for sure. Alright. That's all grabbed on there. Let me see if we can possibly loosen it. Oh, I can already smell that fuel. It smells like 91 octane. I'm gonna be on the 85 next time. I'm gonna have to do 91 first and then move on to 85. It's gonna be so nice being on 85 again. Such a stable fuel, it makes so much more power, but you need a lot more fuel to make the same amount of power as you would on 91. So, man, it's hot in here. Sheesh. I feel like I think I'm gonna go open up the trunk real quick. Just open up the trunk. That's making things so much better, to be honest. All right, and I got my little impact right here. That was a little strange. The fact that I had to impact it like that. All right, so I kind of have an issue with those little screws. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just take these hose clamps off. There you go. This one's off. Got all chewed up. But like I said, I'm replacing the fuel line anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's gonna be a -8 feed and then -6 return, so that's gonna be pretty gnarly. I'll get this one off right here. It's weird that they're all stripped out like that. I don't know if I'm able to get like a pry bar and pull up on it and see if I can get the threads to catch. So we'll give that a shot and see how that goes. All right, so I'm sorry for the slight intermission here, but this is the aftermath in the end for those nuts. So I guess you can say things really didn't go too well. Yeah, so make sure you guys don't torque these with an impact, because when you do, you're gonna have to do some carnage on those nuts for sure, like I had to. So yeah, that sucked. I should be able to get the fuel pump assembly out now. These things are shredded. This one's okay. I can probably retap this one, but this one's toast. Yeah, this is a goner. And then this one right here, also a goner. I'm gonna probably have to tap for something or chase with something smaller for these. So that's quite the bummer. I literally spent like, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes trying to get those out. Like, it's such a pain, because essentially like those little nuts were just spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning and spinning, and nothing was like happening. So I had to end up getting a little saw. And the thing is, like, that's a very, very dangerous spot to have something like that just completely just spinning around and just stripped, because it's like there's literally gas there. There's fumes coming out of there. If you use like a power tool, like a little like a rotary tool with like a little cutting disc, you leave like so many sparks behind, and it's just like the fact that there's fumes coming out of there, like you can ignite something. So yeah, I was trying to come up with like the best solution to get that done, and in the end I ended up buying a little hand saw, and just sawed it away. And pretty much the way I did it, at first I was trying to kind of like hammer like a little chisel to get them to break, but what I did was so you have the nut, right? So essentially what I did was like I made kind of like a triangle. Let me see here. So in essence what I did was I made a notch literally going across this way. I made a notch going that way, and I got another notch going this way. So it's kind of like a triangle essentially. So I pretty much cut and sawed until I made those 3 notches. And I got my little tiny flathead screwdriver. I pried it under, and while I was doing that, I was actually loosening the nut and pulling up with it with a little like vice grip. Yeah, with a little like locking plier. So yeah, and I was just spinning it while having the flathead under there and pulling up, and I was just pulling it up on out at the same time. And essentially since I had cut
those 3 inserts, there wasn't enough thread for that thing to be catching, so it started wiggling out, and then essentially I started spinning it to the left to loosen, and eventually it just came out. So definitely not something you want to deal with. Please do not torque these down with an impact. They only go torque to like 2 foot-pounds of that. So do it by hand. It's just avoid the headache. Yeah, this really sucked. It really kicked my ass. So let's continue on forth with the fuel pump install. I'm gonna take out the fuel sending unit and then go from there. All right, so you're gonna want to grab some gloves. So I will go grab some gloves and be back because you're gonna be dealing with fuel. All right, so now that I have my handy dandy gloves, I'm gonna move this stuff on out of the way. And these hoses are gonna be kind of in the way as well. Just pretty much just get everything you can out of the way here, because essentially this you're gonna be pulling up on the actual fuel pump assembly to get it out. So you're gonna get all those 8s out, supposing that you don't have the issue that I did with these 3 right here in the back being stripped. You will pull it up here, and it's gonna be kind of tricky because sometimes things can get in the way. So essentially you're gonna pull it up, and at some point it'll give in. These hoses are probably in the way, which is probably gonna cause this thing to not want to come out. So just coming on out. You do kind of have to like angle these a certain way. There is like the little float or whatever is kind of like gonna get in the way. Like I said, it's just, you just kind of have to be strategic with it. And just kind of rotate it up until you get to the angle where you can pretty much pull it out. All right, I think we are golden. There you go. The fuel pump, I'm playing. The fuel pump is out. So what I had in here before was an AEM. I think this was a 320, or I don't know if it's 320 or 340. I think it's a 340. So I had an AEM in here before. Essentially, these fuel pumps are really good for 85. Like, you shouldn't have any issues using this fuel pump whatsoever. But when you're trying to hit above 500, it's better to have more fuel than less. That's always should be the case. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing taken apart, transfer this over to the Radium fuel pump hanger. So we're gonna step inside after I get these off and set up the Radium fuel hanger, and then it'll be fun, I guess. The thing that's gonna be difficult is going to be the fuel level sensor, because you actually have to bolt this down while the fuel pump's going in. So that's gonna be kind of a pain, but we'll work through it, and we'll keep this thing going. So what I'm gonna do first is just disconnect the harness here. It's going to be for that temperature sensor and the leveling sensor. So there you go. This harness is off, and I'm gonna take off this harness as well. All right, so essentially what you're gonna do is you're gonna get the actual sensor here off. So I believe there's gonna be a Phillips here to take off. One Phillips right there. All right, that bad boy's off, and there goes that. I guess I'm not too sure if this is a part of it. It might be that this whole plastic bottom piece is a part of it, but I would just let it be and just, you know, just take it with it for now. All right, so next thing I'm gonna take out is just gonna be this temperature sensor right here. There you go. So this little assembly here is now out. I think that is all that you need, but I'm not too exactly sure. Like I said, this is my first time doing a Radium fuel pump on my car, so I'm not too exactly sure what that entails. But for now, I would just leave this as is, just leave it hanging around for a little bit, and we'll go inside. We'll get to the Radium Dual Hanger and see how everything's all set up. I might watch a couple of videos just to double check and make sure, but everything now should go smooth, hopefully. Fingers crossed. You never know, these cars kind of can be a pain when you have some projects. So yeah, fingers crossed everything goes smooth, and we'll keep going on with this. So I'll bring you guys inside and get that Radium fuel hanger all out of there and get everything assembled. So what you need is an 18. I only have a 19. That's the best I got for the ORC fittings, and a 22. I'm pretty sure it's an 18. A 19 is a little loose. So the reason why I need these is because I'm actually going to be doing -8 feed and then -6 return. So I'm actually going to leave this for the crossover. And so 22 is going to go on for this right here. Go ahead, just loosen it. There you go. So now that one's out. Put this one in there. Make sure you guys get oar fittings if you guys are going to do a -8 feed. Make sure it is an oar fitting because you will leak fuel if you don't get an oar fitting. It has like a little gasket on the very end. I'll show you guys here in a bit on the other one I just took off. So here's what I'm talking about when it comes to the oar fitting. So you have the oar fitting here. You have a little gasket that goes around it. So this is essentially what you're gonna want for when you're replacing those on the actual fuel hanger. So oar fittings, and then whatever AN that you're going to be using, or if you're going to be using this, that's up to you as well. But I'm doing -8 just to be safe. I don't want there to be no restrictions whatsoever. So -8 there, and then like I said, you're gonna loosen up this one right here afterwards. This one's gonna be for the return, and this one's a crossover that goes over to the other side of the fuel tank, I should say. So it doesn't really matter. So there you go. Loosen just fine with that 19. I'm sure it's an 18. I don't know. I might be mistaken, but I feel like that's a little loose. All right, so this one's out, and then same story. Radium does supply -6 in there, so here's your -6, and it does have the oar fitting, of course. So we're gonna go ahead and screw that one in there. Start tightening it. Oh, and Radium does not supply the -8, by the way. You have to buy that. So it'll be a -8 orb to -8 AN. So there you go. So there you go. Have it all set up for my custom fuel setup that I'm going to do there. Now what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to get the temperature sensor on, which I believe goes right here. That's where you zip tie it, and you zip tie the cables down here, and then get the fuel level sender. That's gonna have to be put in the middle of getting this hanger in there. And my sender looks a little strange. He's got like a brown box. I haven't seen that. I was just looking at another video by Jake with this Forester, and he doesn't have that box. I'm gonna look at another one and see if anybody else has transferred that little box looking thing. It's like brown or beige. But yeah, this is pretty much how you're gonna get this all set up here for your orb fittings, and then go from there. And like I said, this is such a beautiful piece. I absolutely love the way this looks. So yeah, we'll continue on forth with this and keep on going. Okay, so I figured out the whole dilemma behind this. So essentially the 98 GCs have 2 pieces to the actual fuel level sending unit. So they have 6 wires instead of the traditional 4 wires that you probably see on the GD chassis. So you usually have 1, 2, 3, 4. It'd be 2 for the leveling sensor, and then it'd be 2 for the actual temperature sensor. So on this one you have a temperature sensor, and there's like a sub leveling sensor inside of here as well. So you actually have 3 wires going into 1 pin, and this is essentially just going to be your ground. So all these pretty much go grounded into 1, and that is essentially how that goes there. And then obviously you see this black here, it goes into another pin, which is going to be for the actual ECU harness side of the wiring. So I'm gonna snip these off and then pretty much go from there. So essentially this is gonna have to be bolted on to the back, which is gonna be a little bit strange, but it essentially is gonna go like that. And so it's just gonna be a little weird because of this box in the back, but I think we should be okay. Hopefully nothing gets out of place, but I think we should be all right, and get this thing all sorted out here. So we'll continue on forth with this. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and snip this off. They want you to do it as close to the harness as possible, but I don't really feel too comfortable doing that. Yeah, it's just what they recommend. And there you go. You don't need that anymore. So now you're gonna have essentially 4 different wires coming out. This one right here for sure is gonna be the ground. This is gonna be the ground. So I'm gonna pin this in as you would normally. You know, when you crimp everything down like Radium suggests you do. And then this is going to be most likely the power or the positive for the fuel temperature sensor. And the thing is, usually you can switch to polarity and you'd be okay, but with this one, since I have 3 grounds going to 1 wire, I'm going to have to make sure this goes as a ground. So I have the grounds here, and then essentially these are going to be a few other powers as well. So yeah, we'll get this all
wire it in here shortly. For now, I'm gonna bolt it on and see how it's gonna fit, and then go from there. So we're gonna go ahead and start by taking on off these little screws right here. There goes one, and there goes two. So I'm gonna bolt these on real quick just to see how the fitment is. And I just want to make sure that the fuel leveling sender doesn't get jacked up in the process. So yeah, we're just gonna do a quick test fit, just see how everything fits here. All right, so I have everything with the initial mock-up already on there. So this is pretty much how it's gonna have to go. I'm only using one zip tie, which is kind of unfortunate, it sucks, but it will do. It will stay in place because this right here, once I tighten it down, this section of the box will actually keep that sensor in place. So there's no way that's coming out. So I'll be all right there. So for now, I'm gonna go ahead and start doing the wiring for this, and then pretty much get the fuel pumps on there, get everything all mocked up, and then I think we should be all right afterwards. We should be able to get this thing all installed. I might need a helping hand, so I might wait for one of my buddies to get here or see if somebody can help me with this real quick. But yeah, that's how it's gonna have to go mounted on there. Hopefully I don't have any issues with fitment. Yeah, because it is kind of bulky, but I think there might be enough space to get it in there. We'll figure it out. Fingers crossed everything goes well, but you never know. It's a swap. Things never really go well with these cars, honestly. So yeah, we'll continue on with this and just keep it going. So what I'm actually gonna do now, I am gonna install the two fuel pumps. So essentially you get these Allens off. They're going to be 3mm bolts. Cool, so that's off. All right, so after you do that, you flip it over. I had to like take the whole freaking the floater assembly with it because I have to zip tie that. So apparently it's really hard to zip tie when you have the fuel pumps on there. So I'm gonna break these loose. Looks like all of them have to come off. So take all these bad boys off. All right, so once you get those off, looks like the brackets should be able to come on off here. So there's one bracket off. And then these slide off apparently, so slide one off, slide the other one off. And after you slide them off, it looks like you're able to slide on your fuel pumps. I guess we're gonna have to install the orb fitting. So now we're gonna take off the orb fitting down here. It's pretty much a plug. So that plug is now off. Now we're gonna install this orb fitting right here. That seems about right, and then tighten that thing down, and then we should be all right from there. So it looks like we're gonna go ahead, take these fuel pumps on out. There is one 450 there. Here is the other 450. So it looks like you should be able to just push them on through, and then continue on forth with installing the little socks in the bottom afterwards. There's a special sock you need to use. Either use the Radium one, or you can use the OEM sock as well. So yeah, we'll get these things on there. All right, so that looks like that did the trick. So now we're gonna put that little clip in there. It's gonna be a little difficult. All right, we're getting pretty close towards the actual install for the fuel tank. So I am gonna go ahead and throw on the Allens right here as well. Start tightening these ones right here in the back down. And so you want to be very slow with these because this is aluminum you're dealing with, and aluminum is very easy to mess up. So yeah, from here should be straightforward, and that should be pretty much the whole install for this. So I'm here to pretty much conclude that fuel pump install video. So in essence, that brown box that you guys saw, that was right by the fuel floater, that was pretty much a part of it. I ended up taking that apart, and it looks like there's like a sub-level sensor or sender in that little brown box. So I actually put my fuel temperature sensor right where it's supposed to be at on that bracket for the Radium Dual Hanger, and then I actually put the sub-level sender or sensor right above it on the other side. It's kind of like on the top of the actual Radium Fuel Hanger. That is the only change I made from that video up until when I installed it. So I went ahead and I installed the fuel pump off camera because it was difficult to kind of get the angle by myself. So I went ahead and got one of my roommates to help me out to drop it in there, and I had him hold it in place. It's a little hard if you're trying to do it by yourself. You're really gonna need 2 people to get the Radium Dual Hanger in there. It's just getting that floater in there and to actually bolt it up at the angle it's at is super awkward. So just kind of wanted to add that note on there since you know, like the rest of the install just wasn't recorded. So that is the only difference from what you guys saw when it cut off to when I installed the dual hanger. It's just that brown box. I did take that off and I relocated that little sub-level sensor on another spot on the actual hanger, and I zip tied it, made sure it was nice and secure. So those of you guys that have GCs, mine was 90. It's a 98. But I believe it has a 2000 harness in there. I believe anybody with the GC might have the fuel sending unit with that third sensor, which is going to be the fuel sub sender sensor. So you're gonna have the floater sensor, which is gonna be the main fuel level sensor. You're going to have the fuel temperature sensor, and then you're gonna have the sub fuel sender sensor. So just kind of some food for thought for you guys out there, because I know most people have only a floater, which is the fuel level sensor, and then the fuel temperature sensor. So there are 3 on GCs from what I know, at least on my car. So just be aware about that. If you have a WRX fuel tank, then you might not have it. I think everything pretty much transfers over, including like the actual fuel pump controller. So just kind of wanted to make that note for you guys that is the only thing that changed from that video up until when I installed it. I didn't try installing it with the little brown box. It may fit, it may not. I really don't know, since you have to put the floater in there first anyways. It might work, but just a heads up, I didn't use that brown box. I relocated that sub-level sensor up on one of the open spots on the hanger. So other than that, I really appreciate you guys so much for watching my videos and supporting what I'm doing here with my car. It has been quite the ride with my car for sure. It's been 3 years now, so I appreciate you guys. Please like and subscribe if you wish. Comment, you know, let me know what I'm doing good, what I'm doing wrong, like what I can, you know, kind of help out with, you know, what I need to improve on, just kind of make the videos for you guys a bit better. So I appreciate you guys so much for watching, and if anything, I'll catch you guys in the next one, and this car will be running soon for you guys. So I appreciate everything once again, and take care, guys and gals. Peace.